Listen, you're not gonna find anything on me, okay? Trust me.
Empty your pockets into the tray, sir, or we'll have to. Your pockets, sir?
Lady, the problem isn't in my pants.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. It's that time of the week where we talk about all things X-Men. We've got the HELLFIRE Gala to catch up on. We've got a big announcement regarding the follow-up to House of X Powers of 10. Apparently, we have not been reading that up to this point. And we also had some good news regarding X-Men Legends as far as a new creator coming on board with some classic stories to tell. And here with me to talk about that is my good friend, the X-Men historian, the Marvel aficionado himself. Doc, how you doing?
I'm great, brother. Had a wonderful day, and welcome back from having your baby.
Well, thank you very much. We are all doing well here, and I'm glad to be getting back on the comic book YouTube grind, having a good time. So let's talk about the good stuff first. We'll talk about the most exciting thing. X-Men Legends number 7, Larry Hama coming back on board to do more Wolverine.
I love it. I haven't read a lot of Larry's stuff in recent years, so I don't know, if he's lost a little bit in his writing chops, if he's gotten better. I don't know. I haven't read much of his stuff in recent years. I think he's still working on G.I. Joe regularly. But I haven't really been a big G.I. Joe reader in a good number of years. So I haven't been keeping up with Larry. But the thing is, Larry is, it's like, I'm really loving what they're doing with X-Men Legends. They are legitimately bringing on great creators that have historic runs. That these are the creators that if you have an X or a Mount Rushmore for each of these titles, guaranteed at least one of the creative team on that book is going to be on that Mount Rushmore. And for Wolverine, Larry Hama is absolutely on the Mount Rushmore of Wolverine writers.
On his last Wolverine work, Wolverine in Iron Man 2020, not the greatest thing in the world because of the art, which was borderline atrocious, but it was a fun read, and it was probably the best thing in that trash fire of an event. So, he's still got something left.
What? I think he's got a great love of Wolverine, especially a lot of the lore he established, and he created a lot of the modern Wolverine lore.
Well, we're going to see Jubilee. Sounds like we're going to have Lady Deathstrike as well. So he's bringing back some of his old favorites.
And that sounds great to me because, a lot of the Lady Deathstrike, Reavers, Shiva, Sabretooth, Wolverine with Shield, Albert and LCD, all that stuff is the considered the classics of Wolverine for his solo book, and that was all.
Well, you're leaving out Origins.
Yeah, but
I'm messing with you. I know you hate that story.
I do. I really, really do. But no, for all the great lore of Wolverine, it all really comes from Larry. So giving him an opportunity, there's a lot of that stuff that still has things that you can explore in it. And it's been disappointing that for the last 25 years, nobody's really bothered to do that in any of the Wolverine solo books. Instead, they want to add something new, or
it's all about daddery.
Yeah, pick up the worst aspects of Wolverine tropes and exaggerate them till you're blue in the face.
Yeah. So you didn't read Iron Fist, Heart of the Dragon, right?
I did not. I skipped that, but Did you
hear what happened at the end?
Yeah.
Danny Rand just said, you know what? I cannot fight this bad guy. I'm going to give you the power of the Iron Fist. Don't know that it works like that. Gave it to Okoye, who had already killed a dragon and had the dragon chi. And when she tried to give it back after besting the villain in about four seconds, Danny Rand says, you know what? I was never a good Iron Fist to begin with. I don't want it back.
No.
Larry Hama, he's just, I think he's still got it when he wants it, but he's trying too hard to placate to certain demographics in the audience.
I mean, didn't Larry kind of kill Snake Eyes to replace him with a Latina woman?
Well, that's
a couple
crazy.
of years
it's like
ago,
trying to kill Wolverine and replace him with X-23. It'll never work.
It never did work.
Never works.
Nope. But yeah, so that's dumb. And with any luck, Larry won't be, especially since these are stories that are set back in those times. He can't really, I mean, he can retcon a little bit of stuff, but nothing that influences modern, the current day X-Men. So as long as he's limited to just playing in that sandbox as he had it in 1993, I'm good with it.
Oh, me too. I'm definitely reading this. I'm excited about it. I'm just saying, Larry, stop trying so hard. You're making yourself look stupid.
Larry, knock it off.
Absolutely. All right, let's get up to the next piece of somewhat exciting news. I say that wrong. This is exciting news. I've got something to say about it that isn't so exciting. It's going to make some people mad. Now, this news came out. It should have been on last week's This Week X-Men. We had to record it a little bit early because I was going to be in the hospital. But Jonathan Hickman's Inferno, which we knew was coming out, it's going to have Valerio Schiti, R.B. Silva, and Stefano Caselli on art. It's going to be 4-issue limited series. And it sounds like it's picking up on all the Nimrod, Moira X, all that cool stuff that was established in House of X Powers of 10. I'm on board. I'm definitely going to be reading this. This is the X-Men's title we've probably all been wanting and waiting for. But I was a little turned off, little peeved, Doc, about what Jonathan Hickman said in the press release, saying this is the follow-up to House of X Powers of 10. What the fuck was Dawn of X?
What the fuck is Reign of X then?
Yeah.
Because
what have we been reading? You just been slow rolling us here. You're dick teasing me here, Jonathan Hickman. What have I been reading for 2 years? This shit was expensive.
Yeah, it was. And for the most part, I mean, as we discussed last week, there's only about 5 or 6 issues of X-Men
of his 21
that were worth the price of admission. So I think this is kind of a sideways admission.
I forgot about giant size X-Men. That stuff didn't really tie into that either.
No, that was
maybe the one with Phantom X in the world a little bit, but that I didn't think it was great. It was
for the most part, that was a waste of money too. Even his the issues of New Mutants that Hickman did, that Brisson did.
That was just bringing his favorite characters back.
It was bringing his favorite characters back, and it was setting up for that 2 issues or 1 issue right before Empire.
Oh, the egg.
With the egg. That's all it was.
It arrived on Earth. It seemed like it was supposed to be a big deal, and then we've never seen it again.
Yeah, no, not really. So good job with that. No, I think this is kind of like a sideways admission that, yeah, he has been.
I think that's Jonathan Hickman sending signals out saying, this was all bullshit. It's not my fault. This is what I really wanted to do.
I think so too. It's an admission that, hey, I've kind of gotten screwed into doing, just basically wasting time, because the shit that I wanted to get to between House of X and Inferno was only about 6 issues worth of material. And I kind of got forced to wait 20 months to do it.
Yeah, and they took my Rocco 4 Horsemen storyline that was teased in House of X Powers of 10, merged that with a bunch of bullshit from Otherworld and Excalibur, and made just a monstrosity of a waste of time.
Yeah, and we're getting another waste of time right now because they needed to waste a couple of issues across the line for what was supposed to be like a 2-issue thing in Marauders alone.
All right, so before we get into Hellfire Gal, let's wrap up this Jonathan Hickman Inferno stuff. I get what Hickman was saying. It does frustrate me that they're saying this is the follow-up to House of X Powers of 10. We've been reading all this stuff for 2 years now. That's bullshit. I'm still excited. Does that make me? Am I a mark, Doc? Am I just asking for it?
I think you are. I think, but I think we're both smarks. on this were smart marks. We know we're marks. We know that they're rolling us. But when they deliver, we are totally into it. That's the problem. I think that's where a lot of us are with X-Men right now. We hold out hope. They give us little crumbs from time to time. And this looks like we might actually get like a full piece of cake. I have issues with the fact that they couldn't pick just one artist for 4 goddamn issues. That they needed to spread it out over 3 different artists. Jesus
Pepe
Christ.
Larraz should be on that book. He shouldn't be on X-Men with fucking Jerry Duggan wasting his time.
Yeah, or Stefano Caselli, I'd be fine
He's
with.
awesome.
RB Silva,
Right.
I'd be fine with. Any of them except for Russell Dowderman, I'd be fine with. Mostly because I'm tired of his wooden 3D model art. And by the way, Chuck Austin called. He wants his art style from U.S. War Machine in 2002 back. And that was a terrible comic. But yeah, no, like other than that, I mean, we know we're getting screwed. And I feel like maybe this should be a warning to us. It might be kind of a sideways, like kind of wink and nod to the marks in the audience that know what's going on. Hey, by the way, just only read my shit going forward because the rest of it's just going to waste your time.
Yeah, you guys are right. I've checked out. I wasn't able to do what I was wanting to do. Although, just here and there, you could tell the issues that he was invested in. He wanted to sound good. Let's get into Hellfire Gala. So we got to talk about X-Men 21. This is the swan song of Hickman's X-Men run. And I swear to God, he wrote the first 6 pages and never wrote another word in this comic book.
I don't know if he even wrote that many pages. I don't think
he wrote the conversation between Namor and Professor X and Magneto. It felt like some of the stuff we heard before in House of X Powers of 10.
I think he might have wrote about a third of it. Because there was a lot of padding even in that conversation that still didn't quite feel like Hickman. I mean, it had the same spirit. Yes, the conversation had the spirit of what Hickman was kind of developing for the relationship between Namor and the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. Yeah, I get that. But I feel like a lot of it, some of it felt like Hickman's words and some of it felt like, hey, by the way, we need an extra 2 pages in this section. So, Tinny, Jerry, why don't you come over here and ghostwrite?
All I know is that sonnet from fucking Cyclops about Charles Xavier when he's talked to by Kevin Feige. It was cringy as fuck. I'm a dreamer. I'm an X-Man, Doc.
Aren't we still in a universe where literally like 3 years ago, everyone on the planet thought Cyclops was mutant Hitler? Yeah. I thought we were still in that universe. How does Kevin Feige not even know who the fuck Cyclops is in a world where he was literally mutant Hitler for like 3 years and he was all over the news all the time?
Yeah. So I thought the words of Cyclops were vomit-inducing. Then there was the end. I have not been operating in a lot of sleep lately, as you can imagine, and I guess I just missed the end part. That wasn't. I thought it was like, is that a drop of blood? And she's going to tell them about resurrection. It was Mars, Doc.
Yes, it was Mars. It was Mars, and it was 2 beings on Mars. Yep. Hey, remember when I said a couple of weeks ago there's going to be something about Mars?
This might not be an Inferno. That might be in Jerry Duggan's X-Men.
I know, and I still think. Remember, I predicted that Magneto thing he's going to do is wipe out all of the AIM agents that are working on Mars to make it a Krakoan colony.
Whatever, man.
Out of the blue, it was out of left field, and hey, we're already at Mars.
Listen, I concede nothing. That shit's going to be happening in Jerry Duggan's X-Men. I'm not going to fucking read that thing anyway. I'll review the first issue and then I'm letting it go.
But still, no, it was Mars, and there was the two beings, and I'm betting it's Abyss and whatever the hell that the
who gives a fuck?
Yeah, those two things from from Hickman's Avengers run, whose names are still the gold one and the black one that I don't even bother to remember. Somebody's even reminded me in the comments before, and I'm still going to forget because they are that forgettable.
As was X-Men 21. Hickman did not go out in style, but I don't think he really wrote it. So who gives a shit? I'm glad he's moving on to Inferno and hopefully just doing limited series about things he's actually interested in moving forward.
Yeah, and if that's the case, I'm going to be down to just Hickman's limited series, and I'm going to pretend that
Fuck that. I'm still reading Hellions. That shit's good.
Oh, well, yeah. Hellions. I forgot about Hellions. Sorry, my mistake. Hellions will definitely stick around because that is a great book. Maybe Wolverine, as long as Scott Eaton's not tracing people anymore. Now, yeah, I mean, I really felt like this was, this was, especially after X-Men 20, and then you immediately get this issue. It's not even the same fucking writer. I swear to God.
It's not. Can't be.
He's being ghost written, and I don't care what.
I don't think he's even outlining that shit. He's like, I'll write 2 pages and you can put my fucking name on it. I don't care anymore.
He writes like literally one word for like, the time, that 7:40 p.m. He's like, okay, I wrote it. You guys can fill in the rest.
Yeah. So moving on from X-Men 21, disappointing. We also had an issue of Excalibur, my bad, Tinny Howard. And someone actually had the gall, the fucking chutzpah doc, to say, Wes, how could you say nothing's happening during the Hellfire Gala? And one of the events that he said was a big deal was Pete Wisdom dying.
Does anybody really give a shit about?
Fuck?
Nobody cares about Warren Ellis's Excalibur self-insert. There's a reason why he always gets, the only person that ever uses him is Warren Ellis, because he's Warren Ellis's self-insert, and Paul Cornell, who is just another BBC guy that loves Warren Ellis. Because he's like, Warren Ellis.
How could you say nothing happened? Pete Wisdom died. I was like,
nobody gives a shit.
Nothing happened. You're proving my point. Nothing important happened.
Yeah, when the most you could come up with for stuff in it is Pete Wisdom maybe dying off panel, because it wasn't even on panel.
Yeah, they just use his blood. But who gives a shit? I don't care if they killed him or not.
Yeah, again, nobody cares about Pete Wisdom.
I'll tell you this. Let's get into Excalibur. This thing was a clusterfuck. It was terrible dialogue from beginning to end, and the characterization. Were you excited that Gambit's ready to stay home and take care of the cats?
You know what? I didn't mind the whole Gambit with cats thing when Kelly Thompson really kind of played that up a little bit too much in that Mr. and Mrs. X. And I didn't really mind it when Peter David did it too much as well with him just with the one cat back in All New X Factor. I didn't mind it that much, but I swear to God, Tinny's job is to find the most minorly annoying aspect of a character and put it under a fucking microscope and then crank it up to 11. Sorry to mix analogies there.
So yeah, I was not excited about that. I did not like rapist Nightcrawler moving in on Mrs. Captain Avalon, who's pregnant. Yeah, wasn't fond of that. Yes, he has had an attraction in the past. I don't see him. He was so out of character.
Yeah, drunken frat boy Nightcrawler hitting on your girl while you go to get a drink is so far off of who Nightcrawler is that once again I'm reminded that Tinny just wants to write Harry Potter fanfic and Game of Thrones fanfic.
Rogue's vibes that she was putting off. I was like, this feels like Kelly Sue DeConnick on the red carpet.
Oh, Yeah. Rogue. Honestly, though,
God.
Rogue barely had any parts in this.
I'm talking about just the way the character looked and was posed.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, I'll be honest. I was a little distracted by seeing lace-covered underboob, but it was a very Kelly Sue DeConnick pre Captain Marvel red carpet vibe to her, and yeah, that's kind of annoying now that I think about it.
Yeah, it was all awful. It was just a clusterfuck. And I'd say this, and I'll say it again. Titty Howard had nothing compelling or interesting to say in this issue, so she just threw as much bullshit into it as possible, hoping that readers wouldn't realize she had nothing interesting to say.
Well, yeah, she used this issue like she was going to try to establish about 10 different, B through Z plots that might pan out eventually, maybe down the line in the book, assuming it's not canceled by then. And none of which actually had any real plot. It was like I went out with this girl a number of years ago, and the date was so bad that I started live tweeting it. Because this
we don't have time for this story, bro. We got to map the 21 minutes.
It's a very short story. And the thing was, she was just a Gatling gun of random. And maybe there might have been something interesting, but every single sentence was onto another topic completely. And anytime you'd be like, oh, well, this is a little interesting, and I'd like to try to take a bite into it and see where this goes, just on to something else. And the thing was, there wasn't really anything even all that interesting. I mean, it was just a comic where the plot was, and then.
Yes. And then. All right, let's do Children of the Atom. I'm not even sure if this was Hellfire Gala. It wasn't on the cover, but it was in the reading order. So fuck it, we're going to talk about it. There's two things I want to talk about. The one character who ends up giving the loser fingers and laughing in her friend's face because he was trying to let her down easier after she made out with him. And she's, I thought it was obvious. I'm a lesbian. It's like, listen, it was obvious to anyone reading the comic book that the female black character in Children of the Atom, written by Vita Ayala, was going to be a lesbian. But Marvel Boy doesn't know who's writing the comic. How would he be aware unless it was told to him?
Yeah. When a girl that I think might be a lesbian decides that she's just going to start making out with me, I have my questions about whether she's a lesbian thrown into, let's just say,
what a horrible person, like a hideous friend, to just sit there and call your friend a loser after he's trying to be nice to you and laugh in his face and call him an idiot.
Well, we're reading comics about friendship written by people that I don't think actually have friends.
They have associates.
They have allies.
That's what it is. They have allies. They don't have friends.
Yeah, they have associates. They have allies. They have fellow travelers, but they don't have friends. And I'm betting their family lives are not all that stable.
I don't know. That's nothing to do with this.
No, you're right.
There's plenty to talk about as far as the writing quality. Let's move to the last thing because we don't have a lot of time. I don't think that she read Ben Percy's X-Force, where they essentially kidnapped Domino, skinned her, grafted her skin on their uniforms and on their parachutes to infiltrate Krakoa using mutant DNA. Because she's essentially doing that exact same plan with the Children of the Atom. But on a less, a diabolical scale. It's just more gross.
When you're a boring writer, you just tend to steal ideas from other people and then claim them as your own. And all she's really doing is
they're villains, Doc.
Yeah,
this was a villain plot from a very villainous group that have murdered a lot of people.
Yeah,
and using it.
Yeah, and the villain children that act like villains and narcissistic weirdos, it's not surprising that they come up with a villain idea.
And just taking someone's sweat and dousing yourself in it is disgusting.
Well, yeah, it's
unsanitary.
Really disgusting. I feel like Vito watched an episode of The Walking Dead and was like, oh, wait, if we just cover ourselves with zombie guts, they think we're a zombie. And they're using the exact same logic here, but not realizing that someone else in the same fucking office already did this a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it was like traumatic to Domino. And like, it took a long time to get over it. As you'd imagine, getting skin alive is not a fun ordeal. That was a shitty comic. It was just a terrible week as far as Hellfire Gala. Last week, we had the one bright, shining light in Hellions. This week, there's none of that.
Yeah. Hellions was good last week. Look, we're at the halfway point on this event, and literally nothing has fucking happened yet.
It's a squadoosh.
Yeah. We're
even the fun comic book, literally nothing happened in it.
Yes. At least that was fun though, and it was like a drunken rampage.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. Watching a drunken rampage by people that have very minimal social skills is kind of very funny. All the rest of this is just filling space and like just it's this weird self-aggrandizing bullshit. Like they're doing a victory lap on the X-Men for being bad.
Yeah. So I'm a customer for X-Men Legends, anything really, but welcome aboard, Larry Hama. I definitely want to read your Wolverine stuff. Hickman's Inferno, absolutely. I wish it had one artist, but whatever. It's got 3 perfectly fine artists, 2 artists I really like, and Hellfire Gala, it's who we thought they were, Doc. It's a fucking dumpster fire.
It's exactly what I thought it was going to be, and they subverted expectations by giving me the exact thing that I knew it was going to be.